Welcome to Growth Stories. I'm delighted to have with me Julian Glasspole, who is the founder of Vehicle Wave Solutions and also has another business, but I'm sure we'll hear about that today on this podcast. And welcome, Julian.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
No, it's a pleasure to have you. And I'd love you really to introduce yourself and let the audience know about Julian and also about the company that you founded about 15 years ago.
I'll be honored to. So my name's Julian Glasspole. The company I've started is called Vehicle Weighing Solutions. We manufacture equipment for bin weighing, overload protection systems for vans, and weighing systems that go on tippers. And about 30 years ago, we started a company called Applied Weighing. So my background is in weighing and force measurement and electronic and low cell manufacture.
So that's obviously you've got a big technical background. And how many people do you employ, by the way, Julian?
Across the group, about 150.
That's a fair old workforce and an amazing group of people. Just in terms of, in terms of getting started the business and, what made you decide to start your own company?
Oh, I was very lucky. I worked for my father. He had a brilliant weighing company, and I had the opportunity to work offshore for him. I set a factory up in Bombay making load cells. I've been doing this since I was 12, 13, 14. When he was a little bit older, when I was in my early 20s, a lovely group of companies called Harmer PLC came along and brought his company. I kind of didn't want to go the corporate route, so I started a little company in my little terrace house called Applied Weighing, and that's how we started, Martin.
And what do you feel sets you apart? Your unique proposition. What do you think sets you apart from? I know there's some other people in the industry, but I've always recognized that Vehicle Wave Solutions was right up there, one of the best in the world.
We try to be. That's very kind. What sets us apart? We manufacture most of our stuff in the UK. We've invested really heavily in great equipment, great people, great manufacturing processes. So we make it here, and we export. We literally export all over the world to 5 continents. So from making load cells, really a little conservatory in our house and a tiny little bedrooms we were making in the kit, we've grown it steadily over the years, and then we're very lucky to employ some great people. We've taken the opportunity to expand to Chesterfield and Liverpool, and our manufacturer based in Reading. So we've been very lucky, we've been very lucky, Martin. So that's kind of what sets us apart, I think, the UK manufacturing.
And I mean, you made it sound so easy, and over the last 15 years, it's kind of like a very smooth curve. But I'm sure, at the beginning, it wasn't easy. I know from my own business, being able to grow a business and have the capital to grow is so important. How did you get the funds together to grow? What's your, some people borrow from HMRC, some people use a credit card, some people ask other people, to invest. How did you get going?
We started a long time ago. We started 30 odd years ago. So Applied Weighing was a very successful company in process weighing. We understood load cells, we understood electronic manufacture, et cetera, et cetera. So that company was already up and running and very well funded and had cash in the bank. So we used that company to fund and support vehicle weighing solutions. Same technology, one has wheels, one static. However, you're absolutely right. When we started Vehicle Solution, VWS, it was burning through cash at a worrying rate of naught. We had this really successful company, plenty of cash in the bank, and we could see it going down incredibly fast. When we started the business, so it was, quite nerve-wracking times, as you can imagine.
Absolutely. And just in terms of the team, growing that 150 strong team, which is obviously a testament to your success. What would you tell the audience in terms of tips around, recruitment and finding the best people and nurturing the best people?
That's a really good question. So we've been very lucky. We've employed some great people right from the beginning. But my only tip to people who are thinking of employing people and growing, number one, the first person is the hardest. Then it gets kind of consecutively easier. So the first person for me was definitely the hardest. I think I've always got emotional engagement with my team, that I like to go the extra mile for them. I like to being a big family is maybe a bit of a cliche, but I honestly feel that my office door is always open. I'm there to help people and support people as much as we possibly can. I also try and find out why people want to come to work for us. I mean, we have a vision to drive up recycle rates and do some good things. It's good stuff in the environment, but I we, that may not float everyone else. That may not float everyone's boxes. So I've tried to look at. I remember the first guy I took on. He was a sales director of a very successful company, bigger than us, and I interviewed him on a really hot, clammy day. And it was before. This is 25 years ago. This was before the time when all cars had air conditioning. And what he really wanted was air conditioning. So kind of what pipped it for him joining us was I said to him, when I get your car, we'll work out what car you have. It will have air conditioning. And for him, that he wanted air conditioning. That's what. So it's not just the money; it's finding out for me, what turns people on to want to come and work for you and go the extra mile for your company. So dig a bit deeper is what I would suggest.
Well, that's great advice. And in terms of, getting started, what were the standout, the first customers, the wins or the big win that you had at the beginning that you felt was got you some momentum going, in terms of the customer, what type of customers?
Because I've been building and looking after my customers since I was a kid for my dad's business. People knew me. I was very fortunate and I'm not an expert. I'm not a technical expert. We worked together, Martin. I'm not technical expert anyway. I was lucky enough to have a great business partner who's still with me now, a guy called John Tracy. Now he is a real technical expert. So between the two of us, he had the technical expertise. I had the sales and marketing side as best you could as two guys in their 20s. But we were able to, from there, employ some real experts around us. We had a fantastic financial director early on. We kept good control of the cash early on, good manufacturing director. We were very lucky to have a core team of good people. Our FD, we were just very lucky to attract some good people. But I think that's what we did in the early days, Martin.
And like the biggest win, what was your kind of biggest win, would you say, on your journey that you could maybe talk about and mention that, and why did you win that customer, as a business?
Our biggest win, we've had some wonderful successes along our path. It can be a little win, but I just love seeing our kit on trucks as I go down the motorway. So it's not necessarily the gross side of the biggest win or the biggest order, the biggest contract that we've done. Waste to energy plants in Hong Kong that are colossal, 400 weighing systems in one order. We've done 80% of the waste that's collected, we weigh it, I suspect, on just, so it's not just the size, but I just love driving down a motorway and seeing a tipper or a tipper trailer with our kit on, or knowing that a van's got our overload protection system on it and it's hopefully not overloaded. Nothing pleases me more to pull up behind a dustbin truck and see my binware on the back of that truck. That's a great day for me. When I see our kit on someone else's truck, it's going to be a good day.
Well, it's interesting you say that because we're exactly the same, but we go down the motorway or we go on a local road and we see XYZ plumbing and heating company or such and such electrical company, like you say, it's so heartwarming. And like you say also that your reputation and your people have so much respect for you in the market is massive. So that whole, the strength that you have behind your brand and your strength behind the family name is huge. And I think leading, in terms of the next question, is we talk about intelligent decisions, things that you've done, like smartest decisions, to help you in growth. And obviously you've got a partner that does the technical side of the business. But what would you say things that really helped you pivot from kind of growing slowly to sharper curves?
Yeah. I think for us, it was setting up a proper manufacturing plant in Chesterfield. We were lucky enough to be able to buy a factory there. Then we acquired another factory. Then we just built our third factory. So having a proper manufacturing base, we can, when people come to our factory, it's sort of a done deal. They usually, well, I don't know one that hasn't. They usually buy from us because they see the depth of engineering, the machinery, the people, the staff, the way we can turn things around quickly if need be. They see the stock and when people come to the factory, it's great. So that was our pivot, taking the big risk. Then we borrowed money, buying the factory, building the factory. That was when it really started to motor forward, Martin.
And obviously, Chesterfield's a great place because it's not far from Leeds, and I remember
Yeah.
as a kid going to Chesterfield, a bit like you when you grew up in business, your family were always in business, you were part of it. I remember my father let me have my first go on the rostrum when I was about 13 years old in Chesterfield Spire in the big reception room that I was doing an auction, and I was holding the gavel and auctioning off goods
Oh,
or
wow.
trying to auction off goods at that age. But what was your kind of like the moment, like you talked about Chesterfield, but was your highlight? What would you say? Was it when you got to your 100th employee, or was it X number of years, or you hit such and such turnover? What was the big milestone that you can recollect? That was how you thought. That I feel like I'm on the way, significantly on the way to achieving your vision.
It was more simple than that. So we'd acquired some land to build a factory on, and what really was lovely, what was lovely for me is when my dad's 80, 88, 87. Then I lost my mum earlier the year before during COVID, and I took him up to the factory, and he's an engineer, and he's a proper engineer. And I asked my dad to break ground on the new factory, and yeah, that was good.
Right. Well, obviously we were great believers. Like we're both into families and everything else, and that was must have been a very tough time. And obviously the pandemic generally was tough for everybody. But obviously, I mean, obviously there's the human side, which obviously you've obviously gone through a lot, and on the business side, how did you manage that whole process?
The initial shock that we all had in April when everything started to close down. I remember sitting in the office on my own thinking, what's happening? And I had the thought that I'm not going to let we didn't know what it was. So I'm not belittling COVID. I remember sitting there on my own thinking, I'm not going to let COVID destroy 30 years of hard work and put 150 people out of work. So that was I just remember sitting there on my own thinking, what are we going to do now? And then as things settled down, we had the support from the government and everything like that. We took it as an opportunity to remodel a lot of our processes. So our processes that weren't necessarily broken, but could be better. We went back through lots and lots of processes, and then we started working on our product. So we increased, for example, we have a tipper weighing system, very proud of it. We've improved the product. So we now have a 5-year warranty on our pass warranty on our standard tipper weighing systems. So we just went back through our bin weigh, we made it better. Our overload protection system, we made it a lot better. Our weighing systems that we use on tippers, it's really now it's a superb product, and we're selling them in great numbers, but it came from taking the time during COVID to actually really improve our processes. So that's how we spent a good deal of time. We didn't slow down. We didn't shut the door. We kept going. We'd service the waste industry. So we couldn't not be there. We had to be there through the whole pandemic, Martin.
Julian, what the audience typically love to hear is, what do you think the most challenging experiences that you've had and how you've managed to deal with it in business?
Oh, Martin, we have had so many, as I'm sure. I'm sure you have. Well, we were manufacturing our load cells in our little terrace house, which of course we had to move out of. So suddenly we had to find somewhere to go, and that was a bit stressful if you're in your early, mid-20s with no cash. We had a batch of load cells 7 or 8 years ago that weren't up to spec, and I took the decision to replace all of them, and that took a lot of time, effort, and money, but we did it. Martin, there's been decisions when we first started that I would be too embarrassed to tell you. But the thing that I think if I could share is no matter how dark it gets in business, there will be light at the end of the tunnel. You've just got to believe in yourself and believe in your people and believe in your product and be bloody minded and keep going because those mistakes are going to happen. And as you get bigger, the mistakes will probably get bigger, but you've just got to keep going. That's my thoughts anyway.
And we talk about keeping going, and we talk about then ambitions and vision. So, what is the ambition now? What is your personal ambition and the ambition for the business going forward?
So I want to keep growing the business. I love the business. I love being involved in the business. I love seeing our kit on trucks. I also know that if you weigh and measure waste, less waste is produced. If you're charged as waste gets thrown away, you're probably a bit wiser how things are made and how it's produced. So I want to carry on pushing our bin weigh and product because it will drive up recycle rates. So it's a great business. We love doing it, but that's what we want to keep pushing.
what would you tell the audience? What's your most kind of valuable lesson that you've learned, maybe in life or in the business? What could you share with the audience? They've got a lot of young entrepreneurs just starting out. You know, what kind of what kind of help can you give them, helping them on their growth journey?
I think no matter what business you're in, or no matter how successful it is, you have to understand about cash and cash flow. If you haven't got money in the bank, if you haven't got money to get the deals done, no matter how good your product is, and no matter how big your order book is, you can fall on your face very quickly. So be, watch the cash. We were very conservative. We've brought a lot of our kit. We own, we if the tap got turned off tomorrow, we could still carry on going for a long, long time because we own stuff. So we're not being flash. We don't drive flash cars, but we've got great machinery in our factory. So that's kind of, I think it's better to have the kit and the stock than the trappings on the outside. That's sort of where we are for now. So is looking up the cash. That's the key for me at the moment, and looking after your customers as well. Well, we almost went with big change with our applied weighing company about 7 years ago, and for various reasons, we just didn't get on board then, and it was a mistake, Martin. So we used VWS, a different software suite. It was a bit clunky. I'd always been pushing big change. But I had an operations director had invested a huge amount of time in another software project. So he'd put a lot of effort and time into another software project, another software source, service management software. Until he got let down by that customer, I'd been pushing big change. He contacted big change, had some superb presentations, but anyone can do a superb presentation. But they were really good presentations. They were really good presentations. So we've been with you now 3 months. The onboarding process was very professional, really well done. I checked before we talked about the relationships that we have with your people. There's a guy called Luke Valentine. He's been superb. Naomi Ralph has been superb, and Ellie Sufferin. So we are really happy with the service, the backup, the product. We've employed people who have got experience with big change. I just kept hearing big change was the software to have if you want to run a successful service team. I've got 20 service engineers, and it's already making us more efficient and giving our customers better service. So early days, so far beyond my expectations. So thank you, Martin, and thank you all in big change. I'm very grateful.
Julian, it's been an absolutely delight to talk to you today. I've really enjoyed it. I think that we've had some technical issues, I know, with the internet, but hey ho, I learned so much about your business, yourself, your life, where you've come from, and I think it's just you're a great example of leadership, and it's a delight to work with Vehicle Wave Solutions.